It does come to a shock to a lot of parents, and perhaps even the older teenagers who were disabled as children and on SSI and hit 18 and realize that they have to somewhat reprove themselves to be disabled. And it is true. SSI child at 18, when they hit 18, they're going to be getting a notice from the SSA saying, they have to do a redetermination because now the child is not a child, the child is an adult. And the definition of disabled for a child is different from that from adult. This is because a child is not expected to, work out in the competitive work environment. So he never proved that he couldn't do that. He had to prove other things of a more functional nature within a child's life that were severely impaired. So once he's 18, now he has to prove, if he still remains impaired, that his impairments, it's not so much about the functioning as a child anymore, but his impairments also prevent all of those 12,000 jobs that exist in substantial numbers in the local and regional national economy. So the other part of the examination at 18 is, and this part is actually usually the easier part. The SSA is going to have to figure out if the child, who's now an adult at 18, financially meets the financial criteria. Now, he had met it as a child, and that's when the parent's income comes into play. So that can be harder to meet the financial part. A lot of disabled children with parents who both work and are not, relatively low income, they don't qualify for SSI because they have the parents supporting them. It's for the kids whose parents have insufficient funds to maybe do that as well as it should be under the circumstances. So the blessing of that is the child is only going to be counted as to his own income, not the working income of his parents, and his own resources. Of course, if his parents are throwing money at him or throwing shelter at him and not charging him rent, even if it's borrowed because he can't pay it right now, then that's going to count as income towards him. But other than that, and that's easily correctable if you're not doing that right. So the financial aspect of a child, an SSI disabled child turning into adult, is not the difficult part. The redetermination as to finding if he meets the adult criteria is going to be the bigger difficulty. And he's going to have to meet it like all the other videos we talk about of the issues and the evidence and treating for everything. A lot of times these are chronic conditions that the child was born with or it happened really early in life. And people do kind of sit back and stop treating because it's chronic. It's not going away. And it's not necessarily excruciatingly painful like other impairments are that we see in people as they, get older or something happens later. So be mindful if you're this young person or the parent of that you might have to like buck up and if you have one of those chronic and you're saying it's disabling from all jobs, do you even know what all jobs are? You might want to start studying up on the Dictionary of Occupational Titles. You have to be able to prove that you can't do that, and you can't really do that from records that are 5 years old. So you really should be, in my opinion, getting evaluated by, high-end specialists in that area who could maybe give a resulting opinion on not only the diagnoses, but the functional limitations that they bring with them, including how they would impede being successful in an 8-hour-a-day job. So they might say, oh, he can walk. Yeah, but if it's only 2 hours, then, that would not, if they can get very specific about a person's, maybe it's someone who gets weak and needs to rest a lot during the day. It might be where there has to be current expert, they got to examine, test, get all those things updated to show that full-time workday would not work for this person due to, whether it's the stamina, or can't do a combination of sit stand all day. They're going to keep him at unskilled, presumably, because he was a child and didn't work, so he doesn't have work skills to, to transfer to now. But you still have to defeat unskilled work of all ranges. So, in my opinion, you want to go very balls to the wall, as I like to say, with treatment. I would start doing that at 17, 18. I wouldn't, wait till after the 18th birthday when you get these letters. Get that stuff revamped for him as he's going into adulthood, or she. What is also going to be really important about that, of course, and I would say even more important than SSI, well, maybe not, is the DAC. That is going to be the stuff that you're going to need to win that case before that person is 22 years old. You have to prove it with evidence that was born before the child turned 22. So sitting around and waiting, just because maybe the child has monies, or will have monies, or could have monies, isn't really the, supporting him right now isn't really the answer. If it's just kicking the can down the street in time, and by the time you get around to it, the child is now over 22, and now you don't have the ability to go get treatment that will be considered for the pre-22 age. Yeah, you could still file for SSI for sure, but he will never ever be able to get DAC, disabled adult child benefits, based on your record or the other parent's record, that could put him in a higher standard of living and not keep him subjected to SSI welfare his whole life. Something to think about. But children on SSI, if you think your child might still be disabled, you're going to have to prove it, and you have to prove it under the adult standard. So I think you should start getting ready for that well before he's 18. Get prepared. All right. Have a good one. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching that, and any of the other videos. Just gonna alert you to, if you haven't already heard, we now have memberships that provide benefits of more interaction, of any questions you may have, or issues with Social Security that you may want and that would not otherwise be feasible under a consultation with me, the attorney, on any particular issue you want. So if you look at the join button, if you want to find out more about it, and it's completely optional, just in case anybody needs it. And it will help us to help some other people that otherwise can't have representation. So if you look at the join button underneath the video, you'll find more details. Thanks so much. Bye.